Hey, this is Stuchu, and today I wanted to talk about passion esports. And this is a topic I neglected to talk about when I did that video a while back about dealing with burnout as an esports journalist. And the reason this topic came up was because I think DK tweeted something like how important it was to have passion in order to have a long career in esports. And I 100% agree with that. But it just made me wonder why it was that I completely neglected that point or completely forgot about it or just, skipped over it. And I've thought about it for a while, and I think it might just be because the articulation around passion is just so nebulous and vague that even if I know it's true, I couldn't say it was true, at least in my personal experience, in the sense that I couldn't say like passion is important if I have such a different view of what passion is, and I didn't even have a very strong grasp of what it was passion was to me. And I've recently done a few things that maybe sort of articulate that better, but to understand where I'm coming from, we have to go back a little bit. So around like 2011, 2012, passion was just this ongoing buzzword in esports where everybody kept talking about it. It's like, oh, I have a lot of passion for this, for the esports. I have a lot of passion for StarCraft. I have a lot of passion for this game or that game. And it always came across to me as this bubbly, feel good emotion, like oh, we're all a big happy family. Oh, if you have this passion, you'll be able to do anything. You'll always be able to succeed, and it'll always let you do good work. And I just thought in my head like that's doesn't feel right to me. Maybe it's right for other people, but it certainly wasn't right for me. So I never back then I never really associated myself with someone with a lot of passion, despite the fact that I did play a shit ton of StarCraft. I did watch every StarCraft game. I did a lot of volunteer writing. I think might have been, I don't even know, 100 to 200 articles for free or something for teamliquid.net at the time. And and I've always thought about what it was that passion was supposed to be exactly. And I remember at the time I talking to somebody online, and they actually had a full time. They recently got a full time job in esports, and he said something along the lines of, when I started getting paid, I started losing my passion for the game because it started becoming like rote, started becoming more of his job than his hobby. And I've always wondered what exactly was the change, right? And what exactly passion is supposed to be. Because I can never, like, to this day, I can never really articulate what passion was at that time. And what was strange was, even though I was a fairly solitary individual, the few interactions I do have, like people often commented, "Oh, yeah, you must have so much passion." And while it was true, I didn't know necessarily what it was or how to even describe it, right? And the reason I'm bringing this up now is because I think I finally figured it out. Recently, I wrote a two-part feature about Wings. And for those who don't know, Wings is the Dota 2 TI6 winner, and they are, in my mind, the strangest and most mysterious team I've ever watched in any esports game. And the reason they're so mysterious is because they were the closest anybody ever got to the fundamental ideal of infinite. And what I mean by infinite is like not only could they play everything, play every style, play every hero, but they didn't have a filter, as in they didn't have a very obvious sort of we play we they didn't have any kind of obvious style to them, despite the fact that they could play everything. Like, it's hard to describe. Just read the article if you're interested. And the reason this article made me more conscious of the idea of passion was because when I was writing the article, I actually came to the realization like I was spending, I don't know, probably spent somewhere between 40 to 60, 70, I don't know, hours just watching VODs, writing things up, rewriting, watching more VODs, and just generally thinking about this team. And at some point, like the utilitarian or materialist in me was like, you know what? This is a complete waste of time. And the reason I thought it was a waste of time was because I've been in this esports writing thing for a while, so I kind of have a good idea of what might hit and what might not hit, and what like orgs would be more willing to buy, what they wouldn't be willing to buy. And this definitely fell outside of the realm of things esports journalistic sites would be interested in, because it was a historical piece, sure, and those can sometimes do well, but it was for Dota 2, and Dota 2 generally doesn't do well outside of TI. Not only that, but it was for a very niche team. They were big at the time, Wings, but in terms of overall like community impact in the West, they are a smaller team than say like OG or EG or Liquid, right? And I could already tell, and I could tell even more that in terms of like star power, like none of the Wings players are big names. Like I doubt very many people could even name most of the players on the team that were like average. They're like average like TI fans, like those people who just show up and watch every year, right? Like I doubt those guys could even name these people because they weren't around for very long. And so I was looking at it and I was thinking, okay, so there's likely going to be no money in this article because nobody's going to buy it. And not only that, but the audience for this article is likely going to be incredibly small. Like, I don't know, there's probably going to be like, in my mind, I thought there might be maybe 24 people in this entire world that might be interested in this particular topic about how Wings changed the Dota 2 game by introducing this idea of open Dota, which is such an intangible and hard to pin down idea, right? And I thought about why it was that I was writing this, because here's the thing: I've never actually written anything for money or views or anything like that. But there was a clear choice here, as in I didn't have to write about Wings at all. I could have written about something I was equally passionate about. I could have written about myriad of like CSGO articles that people would have been interested in buying or people would have been interested in reading. But I had to do this Wings article, and like that, and I can't pin down necessarily why. I think if I had to describe it, right, I think the reason I did this article was because I had like a billion of rational, objective reasons why I didn't need to do this article. But every time I thought about not doing it, it felt unbearable. As in, I sort of realized that if I didn't write this, I doubt anybody would ever write this. What I mean by that is it's such a niche topic that the chances are the rest of human history, like we let the rest of human history play out, like the chances are probably like 0.01% somebody else decides they'll go back and write about this particular Wings team and how they changed the game of Dota with the idea of open Dota. And that idea was like unbearable to me. So I think that's where for me, I think that's the crux of what I think passion actually is, at least for me, right? Passion isn't this sort of feel good, bubbly emotion that fills you with joy that makes you happy that you did something. It's more like this demon, I guess, this thing where it's completely irrational. You can't really control it. That like you have to like the idea of not doing it is far worse than the idea of doing it. Like you're very sort of being rebels against the idea of not doing something. For me, that's what passion is. And if you have that, and it hasn't disappeared for me for the last, I don't know, 8 years or whatever I've been writing. If you have that, then that's really all you need, because I don't think passion's ever going to make you succeed in esports, but I think the alternative of like what I mean by that is like it won't make like just because you have passion doesn't necessarily mean you succeed, but the idea of not sating your passion at least to some degree is far worse than otherwise. So all right, see you guys later.